Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode for a number of reasons. Number one, I know how much you guys really enjoy these interview episodes, and obviously as we're breaking into 2023, I've really lined up some incredible guests for all of you this year, including the amazing human being that I have for you guys today. We have such a similar backstory and current story that we connected offline, obviously. And how it all happened is my wife listened to her podcast, fell in love with her message. She ended up listening to an episode about how much she loved LinkedIn, this, that, or the other. And I'm like, well, I got to reach out to her, which I did. She responded back. We got on a call. I had the honor and privilege of being on her podcast. And obviously, I love supporting others that support me. And that's why she is here today. And she's doing some incredible things. And I want her to share all of that with you guys today, but it's all about the story and the backstory and the journey of what she had to grow through to get to where she is now. And I can't wait to dive into all that. So with that behind us, Brandi Mowles, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you so much, Scott, for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, grateful to have you here. So again, there's so much to dive into about what you're doing now, but let's rewind the tape. And the one question that I always love leading off with that really sets the tone is looking back at your journey through all the different things that you have done. What would you say was the catalytic moment for you that put you on the path that you're currently on and obviously where you're going into the future?
Oh man, I feel like this is such a big question.
I know that's like trying to put people in a box right off the bat.
And I'm someone who hates being in a box. I would say that there's maybe two defining moments, and one was leaving law school to pursue network marketing. That was a big catalyst because that really got me into the entrepreneur space. And then I think the second one was that business like totally crashing and burning and us filing bankruptcy and then having to figure out a new plan for my journey and having a 5-month-old and knowing like we just had to figure out something, and having a regular 9 to 5 was not even an option for me because I had never done that. I didn't want to do that. The thought of having a boss like just sounded terrible to me, like having to listen to someone. And so I think those two moments really have shaped my journey moving forward.
So again, we share that background of network marketing, and both of us super grateful for the experience because we learned a lot. Both of us coincidentally filed for bankruptcy while we were on that journey in network marketing for various reasons. What would you say again, and obviously you're wildly successful now with everything that you're doing, which I definitely want you to talk about with the audience. Looking back at your network marketing journey, because there's a lot of stigmas, obviously, as we know, with any industry, but absolutely it's out there with network marketing. If you had to pick one of the things that you learned in your time in network marketing that was so value added that it allowed you to step away in the way that you did, and then allowed you to grow the business that you have, what was that one thing that you learned in your time in network marketing that has helped you in what you're doing now in running your business?
Okay, you put me in a box again, so I'm going to say two things.
I'm fine with two.
I'm a rebel.
One or two.
I'm a rebel. The first one is more of a mindset thing, and that's just like it opened up my world to like what was possible, because I was first generation to go to college, then especially first generation to go to post undergrad, so going to law school, and I thought that that was just going to be my life. Like, this is what you do. You clock in, you get a paycheck. And so network marketing taught me that there's this whole other world where you can be successful and it doesn't have to look like what everyone else is doing. And it also opened up my mind to like just personal development. That's such a big part of network marketing and something that I wasn't used to. And then seeing women be successful. I mean, where I'm from, women stay at home, raise the kids, like not where I live now, but where I was born and raised. And that's like the traditional roles. And then I saw all these women who their husbands were raising their kids in home. And I was like, wait, this is possible. And so I think that was one big thing. It just opened my mind up to something that like I had never even seen before. And the second thing is very tangible is marketing and sales. I had been a bartender and restaurant industry before getting into any of this. And so I knew how to like sell. I knew how to like get people to buy. I knew how to talk to customers, but like getting into this was like, it was all about sales, like getting cold calling and, you know, getting in front of large groups and selling a ton of products. And then also networking and learning how to work with other businesses. Like I had a lot of partnerships with David's Bridal and Old Navy. And like, how do you do that? And I had an opportunity to go out to Utah and work with Scipio, which was a text messaging platform before texting was cool, and email marketing. And so I learned all of these like marketing and sales skills that I didn't have before because I had majored in international relations and African studies. Like that was not what I went to school for. And then law school is contracts, but you know, like getting into this really tangible, like I really dug into sales and marketing and really excelled at that and found what like my sweet spot is.
I think everyone, Nancy and I call network marketing baby entrepreneurship, because for people, and for me, I was already an entrepreneur. So, I came into it as an entrepreneur, knowing what it took to grow a business, which I found out the hard way that it's really difficult to teach others that have never been entrepreneurs, that have only worked for someone else, how challenging, because there's two hurdles, right? There's the hurdle of actually growing that kind of business, but the second hurdle is, the adage of hashtag be your own boss. A lot of people don't know how to be their own boss. So it's teaching people that aspect on top of trying to build a business. It can create a lot of confusion for people. But like you, I think what I learned that was really, really powerful was the aspect of promoting one's self, how to self-promote, how to talk about what you do, but also the law of conversation. Selling comes naturally when you talk to enough people. So when you can really have those genuine conversations and you talk to the right people, the right opportunities present themselves, and obviously, the rest can then fall into place. Now, fast forward, you spent around the same amount of time that I did in network marketing, 4 to 6 years. And obviously you made the decision, okay, I'm going to start branching out. What did that transition look like for you, saying, you know what, I'm going to hang up the network marketing cap. I found another passion from what I learned in network marketing, and I'm going to push my chips all in with that. What was that transition like for you?
Yeah, mine wasn't like I had this backup plan. Mine was I was 8 months pregnant with my daughter, and I had realized that like in network marketing, I had lost myself. I had lost my identity. I was doing things that just didn't make sense for our family, just trying to keep up with the Joneses almost, like and keeping your title and things like that. And I just knew that having a daughter coming into the world, I didn't want her to feel like her worth was tied to the jacket she wore, the pink car she drove, or anything like that. And it was just like, I don't know, maybe it was hormones, maybe it was just like the intuition, but I just called the company and I said, I'm done. Come pick up my car, take my team away. Like, I want nothing to do with this. And I had no backup plan. And my husband was like, wait, what? What's going on? And at this time, he still had his job, but like, it wasn't, he had taken a lesser paycheck so we could have better benefits. And so it wasn't like we kind of needed both incomes. And I was like, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. Like, we'll just figure it out. And once my daughter was 5 months old, it was time to like, we had to figure it out. And that's where I stumbled upon the online world and freelancing and that kind of thing. But I definitely did not have a backup plan. It was just, I know that this is not the right path for me anymore.
Now, moving into freelancing and doing those types of things, at what point did you find yourself in a place where you're like, you know what? I've really created something incredible here that I could help other freelancers, other, OBMs or online business managers, other ads managers and such. When did you realize that you had something that you can now help other people with the way that you helped yourself?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things, like, it happened to me in, network marketing too, where you don't know what you don't know, and in network marketing, I earned my first car after being in the company for 5 months, and I didn't know that was a big deal until you had done it, and then you're like, "Oh, this is a big deal." And then same thing with this, I kinda, like, I was doing a little bit of everything, social media marketing, all that kind of stuff. And at 4 months, I just hit this roadblock. I was like, I'm capped. I got this baby. Like, my husband's working all the time. Like, I have to make a change. So I just stopped listening to all the gurus that were telling you what to do and kind of just took my business simple and went back to what I felt right to me. Started offering only ads, Facebook and Instagram ads. And within 10 months of starting this business, I'd already crossed over 6 figures and was running at over 80% profit margins. And what happened is people started asking me, like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And so I was like, oh, well, I'll just show you. And people are like, you should have a membership or a course. And I was like, I don't really want to do that. I'm making so much money, like, as one-on-one consulting, but enough people kept on asking. So I launched my membership um, through using Stu McLaren's formula, which we both know. And that membership just took off and people were getting results really fast. And so I started working with those one-on-one service providers. And then we created the course for ad managers that teaches them how to run Facebook and Instagram ads for clients. And the big thing for me is just getting people results. And that's what these programs did. And so everything kind of just took off from there. And so after having that side of my business, my first year in business, I did 250,000. That second year was 2020 and we did 1.2 million. And I documented the whole journey on my podcast because I was like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to document it. And I want to cut this whole stigma of like, we only hear like people's top revenue number, but no one's talking about profit and behind the scenes of what it looks like. And so we documented the whole thing of here's what our profit was, here's what our expenses were, here's what like worked, what didn't work, and we documented the whole thing and it was really cool. But that was the catalyst. It was just doing what I was doing and it was working and sharing with others and then making sure my students were getting results.
Transparency is key in business
Yeah.
because I remember really quickly, I remember hearing a story from another one of Stu's students, Amy Porterfield, who a lot of people are familiar with that listen to this podcast. And Amy was doing a podcast episode and she had a quote unquote LinkedIn expert on there. And she was asking her a lot of questions. And this person wasn't budging an inch as far as, the value that needed to be brought. And Amy basically took it upon herself to provide whatever information she could to highlight what she knew about LinkedIn, basically overrode the episode. And I think that's very honorable of you of sharing that journey because there's so many people out there that have grown to a 7-figure business and they don't reveal the entire journey. They're like, well, I just reached out to a couple people and the rest is history. There's obviously specific things that needed to happen in order to create that result. But I think it's also predicated on the fact that you were getting results for other people, and results speak for themselves because to this day, the best form of marketing is referrals. If you're getting someone results and your name is coming out of other people's mouths, just like you with people, I get referred business all the time because I'm getting results for people on LinkedIn, much like you are now. So the business ends up growing organically the more that you have something of value that is filling a gap or a void in someone else's business, which is what you've done. So now you're on the other side of things, transitioned out of network marketing. Much like you and myself, we started helping people, and people like, you should teach this. And now you're teaching it. Now you've grown a 7-figure business. What on the other side of things, because you and I both believe, and this is something that we really connected on, growing and having small but mighty businesses running at a very high profit margin.
Yep.
What through this whole transition to where you are right now with what you're doing, what's been the greatest learning lesson about something that you may have thought? And you can give me two. What are the two things that you learned that maybe necessarily you didn't realize were going to be a part of that journey, but looking back, you're like, man, those things were so impactful to get me to where I am now?
Yeah, I think the first one is like one of those learning lessons you don't know you need to learn until you hit it. And that's when, I had a lot of people say, like, why do you want to hit 1 million? Why is this your goal? And I was like, because I want to hit a freaking million. I think sometimes, especially coming from network marketing, we have to have this why behind like what we're doing. And sometimes you just want to hit the number, and it's cool to hit the number. I wasn't looking for that number to bring me joy or anything like that. And I just wanted to hit $1 million business in a year. And I ran that the whole time. And one thing you find is like, there's a lot more to that number than just the number once you get there. And I remember when we actually finished up early, since we did 1.2, and I was sitting in the car and we were on a road trip, and my daughter was in my car. My husband was driving a moving truck, and we hit it, and I just like broke down in tears. And it was like, I'm doing this for my daughter so she can see that like women can do the dang thing. They can be moms, they can have a business, they can be present. And I did all of this by only working 4-day work weeks. I didn't work Friday, Saturday, or Sunday that year that I hit that. And it was like, it's so much bigger than us, but we don't have to have it mean more when we're getting started. You'll figure it out along the way. I'm sure people who climb Mount Everest are like, I just want to climb Mount Everest and conquer it. But then they find out along the way, like something deeper that's happening on that journey. And so I would just say you don't have to have this stinking big why when you get started. You'll figure it out along the way. But like the number's enough. Like if that's what drives you, then like go for it. We don't have to put meaning behind everything, because the meaning will come. So that was one thing. And then the second thing is, once you hit your goal, sometimes you get in your head about it. So I remember when I hit million, the next year, 2021, I like broke my business. I didn't break it financially, but I was like tearing down all my systems, and I'm such like an efficient person. And I just started like being like, okay, this is all what the $1 million businesses are doing. So this is what I have to do. And it was like, wait, why are we breaking these systems? They still work. Like I started switching softwares and all this kind of stuff. And then we spent this whole year going back to what we had before, unbreaking everything that I broke, making things more complicated. Like I thought I needed employees and all this kind of stuff. So I think like, if what you're doing is working, like just because you hit a certain milestone, don't just break it to break it. Like, and because other people, that's how they're running their business. If yours is working for you, then keep doing it. Like we added on a higher ticket program and all this stuff, and that just doesn't fit with my lifestyle. I like working only 4 days a week. I like having a ton of free time. I like not having a high stressful like group coaching or mastermind. I like just like getting people results and loving my life and hanging out with my family. And so I think we just have to always keep grounded on who we are and what's important to us, because having $1 million business may be important to some people, but it may not be important to you. And just because it's someone else's goals doesn't mean we need to chase it.
I agree. Nancy and I, we don't believe in hiring employees. We just brought on 2 new team members. They're both contractors. And what we have found is that, a contractor has more of a desire to want to do well for you, because their business as a general contractor is based on doing great work for the person they're contracted for. Because again, if they do good work for us, guess what? We're going to refer other business to them. And like you, Nancy and I only work 3 days a week. We work Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays because we want to spend more of our time living and not working. Now, for the audience that is out there listening to this, tell them a little bit about, what you have going on with the different programs that you have, who you best serve, or who is the best fit for what you're offering, and how they can connect with you either online or offline.
Yeah, so we keep it simple. So I only work with freelancers, one-on-one service providers, people who are providing that done for you service. And we have a membership that helps people get to 10K months without a team. So I'm not teaching you agency, anything like that. We show you how to keep your business simple and get to that point. And then I also help people who want to become ad managers learn how to run Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and how to run that business and how to work with clients from that. So that's our two main programs. And then we have all these SLOs, so sexy little offers or self-liquidating offers as they're actually called. So anyone who wants to just learn like pricing, or I think we have a LinkedIn one or things like that, like you don't need me, go to Scott for that, but like pricing, things like that, we have all those smaller offers that you can grab as well. And then I work with only a handful of one-on-one clients as a growth consultant, helping look at their marketing plan and creating that so they can go out and crush their own business.
Awesome. And how can people connect with you? What's your podcast called, website, and socials?
I know, I always forget the podcast. Oh, I do have a podcast, and it's a very successful podcast. It's the Serve, Scale, Soar podcast. I love alliteration. So if you come into my world, everything's alliteration. So Serve, Scale, Soar podcast, we come out with new episodes every Tuesday. And then brandymowles.com is my website. At Brandi Mowles is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. So you can find me with my name or going to the Serve, Scale, Soar podcast. And that's where you can find me.
Awesome. So for the listeners, you're not going to have to travel too far. All that information that Brandi just shared will be in the description and in the show notes of this episode. So Brandi, final question before we sign off today. What does success truly mean to you?
Oh, this is so funny. I totally forgot to do rapid fire with you. And I always ask this question too. So that's so funny. Success for me is being able to create a life of choices. And so by having this online business, we have created so many choices that we didn't even know were possible until I think you hit like revenue where it becomes possible. Like the first and biggest thing for me was bringing my husband home. Now he's a full-time stay-at-home dad. Him and my daughter are like BFFs. And now I'm pregnant with another baby. And the thing with that is like all those excuses people have for not having a baby, like money, like homesick, like all these things, like we got to a point where we were like, wait, we don't have any of those. So like, are we going to do this or not? And so just being able to have that choice without all these like, but what about this? What about that? And when we go on vacation, this has been one of the biggest things. We have the choice to go wherever we want. We just spent a week at Disney. We live in Florida. We're pass holders and all that. But I remember growing up and my family being so stressed when we went on vacation. It was once a year. We put our coins into like this jar and collected them, turned them, and now like we go to Disney and stay for a week at the nicest resorts and have like, my daughter does not get whatever she wants, but if she wants a bubble gun, she gets a bubble gun. And we just get to have this like stress-free week. And we just got back and it was like one of the most amazing vacations we've ever had. And being able to have those choices to do those things or send her to private school or whatever it is, I want more people to have choices in their life because so many times we don't have choices because we don't have the financial ability to make those choices, even if we want them.
I love how success and choice go hand in hand. The more success that you bring in, whatever that means to you, the more choices you have in life, which could be whatever you want it to be, going wherever you want to go, spending that time with whoever you want to spend it with. And well, first, I just want to say how grateful I am, one, to be interviewed on your podcast, but to have you on here today. But also, it's so inspiring to have someone like you on the show that has been on a similar path as me, has come out better on the other end, and you're serving people in such a deep and meaningful way, showing other people how to be successful. So, Brandi, thank you so, so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Scott.
So as always, everyone, wherever you're listening to this to and from, leave us a rating and review. Let us know what you took away most from this episode. And if you're that service provider, if you want to learn how to do ads, if you're an OBM and you're not sure what you need to do, Brandi is your girl. So everyone, please enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.